Good day everyone, and welcome to this tutorial where I will teach you how to make this exact cup in Blender. We'll cover the modeling, the materials, a little bit of compositing and rendering, of course, and I really hope you like it, you'll enjoy it, and with no further ado, let's get started. Select your default cube. Press Tab to jump into edit mode. Alt-M for merge and press collapse. Move your vertice on X-axis for a little bit. Go to Modifiers tab, add a modifier, and select a screw modifier. Now extrude your vertice upwards for a little bit. Go in, move it up, and make a bigger one upwards. Now make the top, extrude it outwards and up. Okay. Now we need to subdivide this for 2 times and select the middle vertice, press O and move it outwards. Increase the size of proportional editing with your mouse and move it down for a little bit. Now you can move the top inwards. Just adjust it the way you like it. Okay, disable proportional editing by pressing O. Select the middle edge, subdivide it, and move the middle vertice inwards. Now select these 2 edges, subdivide them, and move your new vertices inwards. Now grab the middle one and drag it in. Do the same at the bottom. Select those 2 vertices, W, subdivide, select these ones, 2 times G, and grab. Okay, now select the middle one, move it inwards, down. Yeah. Okay, now let's select this one. Press W, subdivide smooth to make it rounder. Go to the bottom, subdivide it, and move it inwards. Do the same at the top. Okay, now Control R to add a edge, a vertice, and move it up. Now move it outwards for a little bit. Do the same at the bottom of the upper portion of the middle part of it. Here. Okay. Now press Ctrl 2 to subdivide the whole cup. It adds a subdivision surface modifier. Add subdivision 2. Now we need to flip the faces to correct the shading. Now when we can see how it looks subdivided, we need to sharpen the edges. Ctrl R to add the edge and move it close to the other edges, just the ones you want to be sharp. Do the same at the top. Alright, do the same at the bottom. Okay. Now guess we would correct the shape just the way you like it. Experiment with every single vertex, because you can find some unexpected results that look even better than what you thought looks good already. Sharpen the middle part of it. Okay. Now I guess I should correct the top for a little bit. I want to make it rounder, just like that. Now when you have the outer shape the way you like it, we should make the inside of it, because now it's like empty. So go to front view by pressing 1, 5 for orthographic, Z for wireframe mode, and extrude it inwards. Make a round place here, I guess. I don't even know how to call it. So yeah, and do the same at the bottom. Don't worry about the center yet, because we will fix it later. Okay, now we have those little holes, but it's okay. So to apply these modifiers, because now we can't edit anything here, only one edit vertex in every single place, so we need to convert it to mesh. So Alt-C, mesh from anything, you know, so it just applies the modifier easier from pressing on every single one, so I prefer it this way. And yeah, now select a loop around the bottom and go to select options and checker deselect. Now deselect every fourth selection. Turn on the proportional editing and scale it Shift Z outwards. Decrease the size with your mouse and make it just the way you like. Press Ctrl 2 to subdivide it once again. Now we can see where we want to make it sharper, because we have way more control now, which kinda makes it harder. Yeah. Okay. Great. One more here. I guess here. And one more at the top. Yeah. Now I want to add some more interest here. So press Ctrl Tab and change the mesh select mode to edge. Press Ctrl Shift Alt right click and select a loop like that. Press select, checker deselect, and now scale all those vertices inwards by scale Shift C and move it in. Now press O for proportional editing and rotate it on Z axis. I guess it's way more interesting right there. One last thing we need to do here for modeling is to select these loops here and Alt M collapse, and do the same at the bottom. Alt M collapse. Okay. Now we could add the bottom. So Shift A, Mesh Cube. Go to Edit Mode, grab the cube on Z axis by -1, disable the proportional editing, go to Mesh Select Mode Face by pressing Ctrl Tab, and move the bottom upwards. Now scale the whole thing, and adjust it the way you like it. I guess the bottom part of it should be smaller, so I'll go select it, proportional editing, and just scale it down just like that. Move the whole cup down just so it's on the box. Yeah, and now Let's add a modifier, bevel, to make the edges rounder, and increase the segments to 3. Apply it, and make shading smooth. I guess you can press Ctrl 2, so it's smoother in rendering preview, or you can change just the view, you know, it's whatever, just leave it. Okay, now let's position our camera the way we like, and move it outwards. Now I want to flip the values of X and Y, so I can have a rotated view. So copy the X, paste it in Y, press 1080, and increase the resolution to 100. So we have all those pixels rendered. Now we will render this in cycles, so we need to switch to cycles render, our device to GPU, put on samples on 200, and we can go see how it looks like. Shift Z. Now we have rendered preview. We don't have anything yet. I guess this edge looks too sharp here, so I will scale it out once again. Let me just select it here and disable proportionality, just scale it outwards. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, it's not that dark anymore, so well, that was my mistake. Okay, now that we have all the modeling done, we can go on and proceed and make those materials. Select your cup, which is called cube in my place, and use nodes. Change the surface from diffuse to glossy, and make the roughness something like 0.3. Now change the color to somewhat gold, and add another material. Change it to glossy. Leave it at white, but add a little bit of roughness, 0.01. Now let's go back to editing mode and select the places that we want to be silver. You can experiment, you can change it later, there's none big of a problem. Just try to make it look cooler. Random loops. Yep. And I guess one more here. Okay, now go back to materials and assign the other material to these faces, you know. Go back to object mode and select the bottom. Now let's add a glossy. Make it really gray, dark gray, and 0.1 of roughness. Now we can see how it looks like. Alright, we have a lot of reflective materials, but we don't have anything to reflect, so we need to go to world options, use nodes for surface, and for the color, select sky texture. Now let's move the sky down, so it's just like the sunset or sunrise. Increase the strength. My one works at something like 19. Now take your lamp, convert it to sun in lamp options. Object data. Alright, rotate your sun to the other portion. You can just experiment with rotating your sun anywhere and just see how it looks like. You can increase the strength, and I guess that's about it. These are really basic materials, but since this is just a tutorial for making a cup, I guess that will be alright. Now, since we are going to do a little bit of compositing, we need to go to object properties and add a pass index for this object. One object is our cup and the other is the bottom of it, so also add pass index 1 for it. Okay, and now we can go back to our render, and just before we render we need to enable the pass for object index, so just so we can use that pass index right here. Okay, so I guess we can start rendering here. Okay, now that we have it rendered, we can switch the layout to compositing. Use nodes, just so we can see the nodes, and in your image browser you can select your render result so you can see how it looks like. And now let's add a little glow around the corners of the model. Add a color mix, and let's use our object index. We need a converter to distinguish which layer is it, so ID value index 1. Now you can see how it looks like. We have basically a black and white. If you connect it to Composite straight, you can see it's black and white, and that's what you get from the ID mask. Okay, so now let's add a little bit of blur to it. Go filter, blur, add it to the ID mask wire, switch it to fast Gaussian, make it relative, and 10% by 2% works fine for me. Now we need to overlay the same exact cup on top of the glow, so add another mix node. Use the original ID mask. You can press anti-aliasing for a little bit more quality, and connect the image to the lower part of it. Now you can see we have a little bit of glow, but it looks horrible. So what I did is I used a color, brightness and contrast, to contrast the original image and brighten it up for a little bit. Play with these values the way you like it and experiment. Alright. I guess that works for me. Maybe it should be a little bit more blurred. Okay, and yeah, I guess that's okay. Now you can press Ctrl up to see your image browser better, and once you're satisfied with your result, you can just save your image. Go to image, save as image, and that's about it. That's all I've got in this tutorial, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to go more in depth on materials, I have some tutorials on materials, and I guess I'll see you in next tutorial. So thanks for watching and see you later. Bye.